this is a video and a lesson on how to set up the sniper trade in the SPY or the SPX or the QQQ. What we are trying to accomplish with the sniper trade setup is when the index that we're playing, and I'll explain why we like to trade in the index versus a regular stock, but this works in a regular stock as well, is because you can play 0 DTE options. 0 DTE means that the option expires today. So you can pay less money for that option, and as long as it moves in your favor quickly, you can take those profits and close it out. Some people use the SPX and some people use the SPY. The SPX is going to be far more expensive per option contract, and the it is basically a 1 to 10. So the SPY is essentially 10 SPX contracts. One SPX contract is 10 SPY contracts. So it's a 10 to 1 basically. The nice thing about the SPX, if you can afford it in the size account that you have, and you're not putting on too much risk, is that there's no risk. You can let it, it's cash settled, so you can let it expire, and you're not going to, if you're selling a call credit spread or whatever, you're not going to get assigned. But really, we close these out fairly quick. So this is more of a 5-minute long trade, sometimes a little bit longer than that, sometimes quicker. But you can get a little bit more bang for your buck on the SPX. Yeah, every time we switch presenters, you have to re-unmute. Is that a word? The sound. So okay. So the way this kind of trade works is we are looking for an oversold condition or an overbought condition. This is the XPX chart I have up right now. And we might be getting a sniper trade setup that is setting up. As you can see, the RSI here is drifting up. My RSI settings are not 70 and 30. We've adjusted those to 65 and 35 to just give ourselves a few extra signals. Okay? We're trying to give ourselves a few extra signals. So when the index, it gets into, in this case, you can see an overbought this morning as we came up above the 65 line here, and we were in overbought position. And then we're looking for a number of things. I can share this chart setup with everyone if they like. This is a trading view chart. I don't necessarily have this set up in Thinkorswim. Here we go. Here, sniper setup. I'm going to put this in here. That's a trading view sniper setup link if you want it. Yes, there's kind of two ways to do this. Yes, you do need at least 25K in your trading account to day trade if you're trading on margin. You can also, if you have a smaller account, You can also trade a cash account, which means it settles each night, but you don't have margin. You can't do spreads in that kind of an account, and you can't purchase anything on margin, but you can ask your broker to make it a cash account, and then you don't risk completely blowing up. And especially if you trade stocks, they usually take 48 hours for those to settle in your account, so you have that money back after you trade in and out of things. But with options, you basically you use up your trading amount for that day. If you do, let's say you have $5,000 in your account and you take $5,000 worth of trades. At the end of the day, you can't take any more trades, but that all resets the following day. So the options cash settle or settle overnight, so you can trade again the following day. So that's a good way to, or you can trade overseas accounts like D-Man did when he was getting started. But a lot of us just trade a cash account. So the indicators here on the Sniper are an RSI and a MACD. The MACD is set to, we've made a slight adjustment to the MACD with a fast length of 5, a slow length of 8. That gives us a little bit of a quicker signal. Okay. So what we're looking for in these trades, and today's hasn't been all that great in terms of, super clear signals. We almost got one right here when we were reaching the high, and we rolled over and had all that selling while Nate was on the mic. And so we can kind of use that as an indicator. We had another one here this morning, but it just wasn't clear and clean. So what we're looking for, these candles are early signal candles. And basically what those are set to tell you is they kind of give you an early indication of when the squeeze momentum, they're roughly the same colors as our squeeze momentum, is going to change. And it usually gives you a little bit of an early signal, right? So what we're waiting for in this case, our first piece is an oversold or an overbought, right? We're in an overbought condition. And then we're waiting for the candles to change colors. So in this case, I'm waiting for the candle to change to a darker blue, indicating a momentum shift. On the downside, if it's red, we're waiting for that candle to change to yellow, and that's our first signal. This is RSI. This indicator on this chart is RSI for oversold and overbought. Once we get that signal, then we are looking for the MACD to cross. So as you can see right here, we have our three things, okay? Right here, this is starting to change to a dark blue. We're already in, sorry, I didn't mean to do that. We were already in an oversold condition. Overbought condition. And right here, our MACD is crossing. Okay, so that would have been a signal to buy. And this trade would have not worked out. Okay, we take the trade on the close of that candle. This is a 3-minute chart. And then our stop is the most recent swing high. So if I bring us back to where we would have taken the trade, or where we would have looked to take the trade, you see all of our conditions are just about to be met here. That's about to cross. We are in an overbought position. And if I go one candle later, let's see, is it this one? This candle sets up as blue. We are still in a overbought position, and now our MACD is crossing. So this would have been a trigger to enter our trade. Now, many of us that do this in the room have a bracket order set up so that we are giving ourselves 30 cents or 50 cents, depending on our stop. And then we're doing maybe 50 to 70 cents on our take profit. And once we put the trade on, it just does what it's going to do. Okay. Especially if you're doing SPX, that can really get away from you fast. But if you don't want to put in hard stops that way, you can just use the recent swing high as a stop, right? So we would have entered the trade here, and this one, we would have stopped out right there, right? We would have stopped out on the break of the recent swing high. Now this one drifted for a while, right? And then ended up actually turning over. Okay, so if you had larger risk parameters, you could have actually waited that out, but you just don't know whether that's going to happen or not, right? So really you need to wait and see if it sets up again. So in this instance here, and in that instance, we're buying like on the SPX, you can buy a single put, right? 0 DTE, single put at the money. Generally, we're buying those at the money. And then on the downside, when you're trying to catch a round from an oversold position, you're going to buy a single call. Or you can buy, if you want the same value, you can buy 10 SPY, right? Or if you want to be able to invest a little bit less, you can buy 5 SPY, you can buy 3 SPY. It just comes down to what your risk parameters are. And then being able to understand, if you're buying 3, what's my stop? How many cents do I need for my stop? If I'm buying 8 SPYs, what's my risk parameters? Can the sniper setup be inputted directly into TradingView so it can be used? What do you mean as directly into TradingView? Do you also place trades in TradingView? The indicator for the candle color change is a Squeeze Pro ES candles. I shared the chart, so it should be on there because that's not a paid indicator. That's our sniper trade. I use these sniper trades also as a day trade and then also as an income strategy, selling credit spreads on the SPX, which I can talk about later in the week. But the strategy I'm talking about right now is just buying to open a call or buying to open a put, depending on the direction you're trying to play. I like to play it on the 3-minute chart, Racky, but you can play it on the 5-minute chart. I see a lot of false signals when you play it. When I've looked at it on the 1-minute chart or the 2-minute chart. So I play it on the 3, but you can, a lot of times if you're playing it on the 5, so what has to happen, which is kind of hard, this one worked out pretty good in terms of, let's go back and say we're playing this sniper right here. Okay. Let's pretend for a minute this was oversold, right? Just a little in the oversold. We're waiting for MACD and we're waiting for a change of color. If I go 1 over, right, I get the blue and I get my MACD cross. But sometimes, that candle, especially on like a 5-minute chart, by the time we have to wait for this candle to close. So that's a full 3 minutes, right? Sometimes in the 5-minute chart, your candle looks like that. And then you do not want to get in that because it's way too far away from that top. Right? So I find that the 3 minutes kind of gives me some better signals. No, I'm not looking at volume profile for a sniper trade. I am simply looking at oversold and overbought and MACD cross. Now, this is how a sniper trade sets up for free indicators. I actually use an indicator that combines a number of these. So when I'm doing these trades, I use an indicator called, it should be right here. I use an indicator called Ready, Aim, Fire. This is a paid indicator from Simpler Trading. It kind of does a lot of the same things. So these blue lines are oversold and overbought. They're roughly 65 and 35, give or take. I have it set to 1.8. And what happens is as we get into those oversold, I'm getting triggers, arrows that are telling me that this is going to round. And sometimes you'll get a false trigger for sure. But you get some of these ready, aim, fires, and that kind of helps inform you on the trade. So like for instance, this is not happening right this second, but we get this blue candle. We rolled over. We weren't necessarily in an overbought position, but we did get a trigger right there. And as you can see the way that played out, that would have been hard because that happened pretty fast. But I use this, but this is a paid indicator. You can create the same thing using RSI and MACD. You don't need the paid indicator. Sorry, that's a different RSI. Here's the MACD. So that's how we do the sniper trades. And, there's a number of different ways in which to play them, straight call to open, buy to open calls and puts, or credit spreads, both call credit spreads and put credit spreads on either side. Does anybody have any questions on that? Hold on, quick check of my other positions here. Crowd's holding up fine. Added on this bounce and crowd. Sorry, any other questions? It looks like, for instance, and this is Amazon, right? We are in a overbought position. MACD hasn't crossed yet, and we're still in these light blue momentum candles. But in this case, that's a 10-minute, sorry. So on this 3-minute, it would have given us a false signal here. So let's look at a 5. So here, MACD's crossing. We don't yet have a blue candle, but this could be a sniper style trade on Amazon. The only problem is you're buying this week's options expiration. You can't do a 0 DTE on that. All right. Any other questions on the sniper trades? You'll hear us say, or see, not hear us, but you'll see us type, sniper trade setting up on the SPY or sniper trade setting up in the SPX. And that's what we mean. We'll usually say what time frame. So 3-minute, 5-minute, typically. Enoch, the colors in the candles are just an early indication of a momentum shift in the squeeze. Okay. So see, we're light blue, those are the same. Light blue, light blue, light blue, light blue. Then we get a blue candle, dark blue candle, but the momentum hasn't shifted yet in the actual TTM squeeze. So it's just an early indication that we might be rounding. So that's, Skater, that was what I just described. That is called Squeeze Pro ES candles. And it's a free indicator. Okay. JRD, I will do a scan of how to scan for TPS setups. I'll do that tomorrow. I'll have some larger chunks of time on the mic tomorrow. Yeah, Elwin, I typically target 30 to 40%. Stop is usually 10 to 15%, somewhere around there. Explain time charts. Yeah, time charts are just different, you know. I mean, we should probably do a lesson on, you know, what's inside a candle and how a candle forms, and then you break that down. You know, you can look at these charts on a 78 minute, a 65 minute, a 30 minute, whatever time frame you want, looking for different squeezes or different setups that are going to work for you. The larger the time frame, the larger the move that will happen out of that time frame, essentially. Okay, what is the white line on the RSI chart? The dotted lines are just the top and the bottom. Those are the, you know, 65 and 35 on the RSI. No, Gunnar, I don't really use that because they're, you know, the squeeze chart, if you're just using the squeeze chart, it kind of speaks for itself. And it's kind of a different kind of trade. Okay, D-Man, are you here? I think D-Man's coming on next. I will stop this recording now, and we can get into any other questions later.